require all of our pro gamers to be 24/7 StarCraft 2 and have no other life.
Yeah, I mean, like, what kind of company would restrict their players to play only their game and stream only their game? I don't know something. Anyhow, getting into it. 2K Atmosphere will be our first map of the series. Spawning over in the top left, representing Dragon Phoenix Gaming, it is Rogue.
To the top right as the blue Terran, we have MarineLorD.
Already up to no good here. I was looking at the map and I was like, oh, cheeky. Two SCVs out there. They are walking or getting to a spot much further away. And, you know, James was absolutely right on the desk there. MarineLorD is the kind of guy that can do 2-Raxes. And he's actually very good at it. Like, I can't remember who he played. It was a Zerg on Romanticide where he put a bunker at the bottom of the ramp. I think it might have been Lambo, actually. But he won in a way that I was just like, oh, I haven't seen that in a long time. Genuinely excited to see how this goes for him.
There was actually, I guess, a kind of a little bit of a new twist that here Marine did, especially today. I think MarineLorD did it as well, where they ensured they had enough money to actually build 3 bunkers right off the bat. I remember that kind of coming in during the season. I don't know if that's what's going to be happening here. I believe it just delays the gas, basically, thus delaying their factory. But MarineLorD, I think that he can sometimes be kind of like a Maru situation where he's able to flex out of this decently enough that I really don't mind it as an opener for him. But obviously, this is still a risk. This could go really, really terribly wrong. If he only gets 1 drone, he gets pushed away entirely. No bunker, no harassment, doesn't do anything. He's in trouble, especially with Rogue having just the instinct to kill him when he knows he can. But could this actually do something? Yeah, it still could. Rogue has hatch first, and his Overlord is going to see this, yes, but not far in advance. See how he handles it with the drone pool.
Yeah, I mean, okay, this is what I was talking about on Romanticide, by the way. He builds the first bunker quite far away. This is also something that was old school style, and it kind of ensures that you can get up at least 1 bunker. Rogue's response to all this, making a few extra lings, obviously with the 2 queens, but then 2 spine crawlers on the way. And he is definitely respecting it, as he should be.
Yep, but there's the pullback all the way up back to that bunker. It's already about 85% done, 90. It is going to finish. Nothing that Rogue can do about that. And actually, by chasing all those Marines, going back to that bunker, nothing was there to stop this SCV in the second bunker. 2 SCVs still alive, going to also repair, as that one very weak Marine does go back in the bunker. And now we have a bunker that's close to the hatchery, but doesn't actually shoot it.
Yeah, it's kind of a funny position, right? Like, it's not actually threatening the hatchery. I mean, it's definitely forced a response out of Rogue, because he's still making a lot of Zerglings, and maybe almost too many, I feel.
Yeah, I was going to say with the 2 spine crawlers as well, right? Maybe if it was one or the other, I'd be totally fine with it, but it looks like MarineLorD is going to be, well, he's going to have to be happy with what he's done, because he can't find very much more, so he salvages and just runs back home.
Yeah, very weird, assortment of trades here, because there's a few lings that kind of got out onto the map, but yeah, let's have a look at the unit counting station here, because I definitely think Rogue, after getting those 2 spines up and seeing that it wasn't attacking him, yeah, 13 lings, they achieve absolutely nothing at this moment in time, so weird 2-Racks, but maybe it's not all doom and gloom for the Frenchman.
Yeah, 7 larvae into lings, and then you did build 2 spine crawlers, it's 2 less drones. I mean, these are the things that you do start to calculate, especially thanks to Maru and him basically showing years ago that this could actually be, if you will, a macro opener, is that people had to be like, well, it was defended, so I guess that means the Zerg wins. And then these Terrans would be okay after a couple of minutes, and you had to really dive deep into why that happened. But in this case, Rogue is able to deflect it. He did seriously respond to it. Now, a very typical follow-up is what we see here. It should not be that much of a surprise, but there's always that game or two where the Zerg player just isn't in the right spot or is thinking about other things, maybe is disappointed with how the game opened. And they don't think about this Hellion drop, which could get into the main base. And then Terrans have, I guess, been trying to play around with the expectation and actually, you know, get a medevac, but then not do the drop, just kind of blitz into the natural. But we'll see if Rogue is actually anticipating this, as I think it is the Hellion drop. We don't have an armory, right? Yeah, no, armory.
One thing that does work... Okay, it's actually going for the Marine drop.
Yeah.
I was about to say, one thing that does work against this, because normally when you go for the Hellion drop, it's because the Zerg forewent really fast speedlings, right? But he got the speed upgrade very, very quickly, gets a nice little scout here going on. Now it's just turning into kind of the... I don't want to say the ordinary build of, like, where you have the Marine drop and the Hellions on the map. because it's definitely a weird way of going about everything, and it's a 3-rack swallow behind this as well.
Only built for aliens.
Yeah, definitely looking to be aggressive with this afterwards at some point, and maybe that's the kind of thing that could catch Rogue off guard, but I think Rogue's actually handling everything pretty damn well from this point.
He also scouted it. I mean, would have been nice to have that Ling not get into the main base at all, because the barracks was put on the forward position on a reactor, but that's asking a bit too much in this situation. We'll see if Rogue maybe actually realizes what his scout means, and if he's going to be ready to defend. He's going to drop down some evolution chambers for upgrades, but start setting up some run-bys, some backstabs as well. These 2 bases that we see from Terran every so often, yet still, there's a reason that's fell out of the meta completely, and it is kind of one of those surprise attacks. We saw it, I think, just actually in the finals recently, but, I mean, did it actually work? I don't think it did.
All right, so if I'm looking at this, I'm like, okay, the investment in the 2 Evos with the big upgrades, that is something that I don't think... Oh, that's actually a big catch on those Lings. I don't think those upgrades will come online by the time an attack comes, because I got to be thinking an attack is absolutely planned for MarineLorD here. I don't think he plans on this game going on for a long time. So if he does attack before any of that actually happens, which he absolutely will be in the face of his opponent, this is starting to look a little bit scary if you're a Rogue fan.
Yeah, I think you'd have to respect this, which I'm not sure that Rogue is necessarily doing. His Bailing Nest is about halfway done, but MarineLorD is already getting situated to attack on this left side. He's brought everything over as fast as possible. And that single tank doesn't look like very much, but as an anchor, it can be very crucial. Going to use a bit more of an abusive spot as well. Rogue has both Spine Crawlers, plenty of Queens to tank a bit of damage while he responds, but it is just Lings right now, as the Bailing Nest is not done. Spine Crawlers should only last a certain time. Eventually, Transfuses will run out.
That is a huge swell of Lings, and I mean, these Queens, along with that Spine Crawler support, they don't die very quickly. MarineLorD was actually keeping his Hellions by the tank in case they got surrounded, or at least the attempt of it, and Rogue, he's like, you know what? I'm going to go across the map with a bunch of Lings. I think MarineLorD could have actually committed there, you know?
Might have been able to. I was trying to think of where I'd seen this 2 base, and it was the season finals, just on Group A with Scarlet versus Cure. And it didn't really work out for Cure, but there was other things that also contributed to that. But I'm just still, like, generally not a believer in this type of style, but I'd love to see it actually work. I'd love to see it work in a way that lets MarineLorD macro out at the very least, as I don't think winning the game was necessarily very realistic, but this has been completely cleaned up. Only 1 medevac injured with 3 Marines to go for much more harassment. I don't know. Rogue's got a lot of time to play with now. He starts up 2-2 as MarineLorD starts 1-1.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that he survived all of that without taking literally any damage whatsoever.
Yeah.
Like, those Spine Crawlers, for those that don't know, I think they have like 2 base armor or something like that. So those Marines deal very little damage, and with that amount of Queen support as well, Rogue just did a perfect job of just buying time.
Yeah, if you can blitz, if the Queens aren't in position, the Spine Crawlers are non-existent, and the Lings aren't quite in that good number, you can blitz, and you can do a lot of damage, but being able to buy all that time has put MarineLorD into a very tricky spot. Now forced to try and get some more damage done with harassing units. 2 medevacs looking for more damage. So far, not doing anything. MarineLorD is going to try again on the left side, but these are now very, very small. You know, up to a certain point, small armies with a siege tank can be kind of scary in their own right, but after a certain point, Rogue has lots of larvae to work with and has lots of Lings that do have upgrades as well. These small little armies get very dangerous to be put on the map, because specifically, picking up the tank is always difficult to do. If you siege it, you got to wait for it to unsiege. That's a big giveaway if you're not 100% sure that it's going to work. And so far, nothing is really working for MarineLorD.
I really like how Rogue's been actually attacking with the Queens. Every time those medevacs are in range, he's targeting them and targeting the lower health ones. Made it very uncomfortable for MarineLorD. Oh no! My gosh, that is so many mules. And I'm surprised there was no movement in MarineLorD's face whatsoever. He was just like, yeah, this happens. I'm the Terminator. But yeah, that is a huge, huge blip to his income from here on out.
Yeah, that hurt, man. That hurt. It could have been so many other things. Obviously, it could have been a lot of cash. But even if you said it not, so it could have been scans. Ugh, what a blow to his economy. And MarineLorD is finding, at this point, really no success. There's finally a reaction as burrowed Banelings did just crash into his reinforcements.
We always get to cast together when bailing bombs happen. And somehow we always just miss them. It's incredible, incredible. But there his face absolutely did react. And Rogue, he's running away with this game. 2-2 about to come online. Cute little positioning from these Marines. But yeah, this game just started off not very swell. And there's banelings, there's lings everywhere. And GG, short, clean, and simple.
Yep, that was at no point very successful for MarineLorD. There is, again, an argument to be made about how Rogue had to react to the 2 racks, but I think that's one where you make the argument if MarineLorD has a 3rd CC building and then nothing happens for a little while and the Terran can work off of that. But the fact that MarineLorD did the 2 racks that didn't really do a lot of damage, it was more the indirect damage, and then went for a 2-base build follow-up that definitely didn't do damage.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what really just put him in an absolutely terrible position. I'm sure he knew it too, as much as he was stoic and just concentrating. I'm sure he was like, yep, this game's pretty over. Let's just try to play this one out.
I wonder if that was just a little bit of misjudgment on the bunker as well, like just being out of range kind of thing, because then it was like, yeah, I kind of have to get out of here. But even so, I think Rogue's prep and stuff, like he just handled it all pretty damn well. Like his 2 racks defense in general didn't look like that was meant to do anything, even if the bunkers, like here, it felt like he pulled back at a very good time. You could be like, oh, why doesn't he? They'd hop into that bunker eventually for sure. And then it's just lost mining time. This as well, he was patient until he knew that he didn't have to be patient anymore. Even the Hellions, I think they could have been a bit better positioned there. Maybe hugging the tank more or getting in between those Vespane geysers. But yeah, at this point, game was absolutely, well, very over.
Even if there was more to be done on the defense of the push, to be a way to put it, it still felt like it was one of those things that because it didn't do a lot of upfront damage, the Spine Crawlers and the Queens, by so much time, it really had already missed its opportunity. So, as I said, MarineLorD probably knew from the get-go the game wasn't going to be very pretty. Then Banelings killed all his mules, and then he was suddenly 70 supply down. You move on to the next game, hope it goes better. It's going to be on Blackburn, so we're getting our old maps back-to-back.
Yeah, and I'm curious about what MarineLorD's going to pull out here. You know, like a lot of the European Zergs were like, well, in fact, even I think it was Dark said mech can be scary if it's from a bio player.
I thought Rainer said that.
Well, I think Dark said it in the little intro before.
Okay,
yeah. It's like a mech can be scary if it's from a non-mech player. But then he was like, it's kind of predictable from special, so it's not that scary. And I mean, a lot of the Euro Zergs have said that this map is really hard for mech. Rainer was the guy that said that.
Right, okay, yeah. I mean, they say it, and yet I actually have not seen too much of it. So maybe this will be the time that we see it. Because MarineLorD has been playing a bit special. That's a bit different than some other Terrans before. But we are on the game number 2 map. Blackburn, bottom left down a game. He is MarineLorD.
And spawning over in the bottom right, making it look comfortable so far, it is Rogue. I like how he was talking about this group as well. He's like, yeah, I don't think I can lose to MarineLorD or Special. And honestly, I think I can beat Dark too. I should finish first in this group. A lot of these players are showing a lot of confidence, actually.
Right, yes. I'm glad they are. I know, I mean, we're going to be completely honest with you guys. There's a little bit of poking and prodding that usually has to happen. Like, do you want to say anything to your opponent? Anything a little bit meaner? Anything spicy at all? But I actually think that a lot of just StarCraft players in general have been at least... not just confident, they've been a little actually on board this whole kind of like, yeah, we'll throw in a joke, we'll throw in like a little bit of spice, make it a little more interesting. And it's funny that this is happening, and I've noticed it more. There's also like a lot more to be said in interviews nowadays. But the person who seems to actually be drawing back on it is Dark, funnily enough. Like, he went from being one of the only guys to say these things to now being like, oh, you know, I guess in certain situations, people can be good. Yeah,
it's funny, right? Like, he's like, I don't think it's a bad group, actually. And it's like, Dark, come on, a few years ago, you've been like, 2 foreigners? I'm going to own this crap.
Exactly. I don't know how that twist happened, but anyways, we talk about mech on this map. I mean, I do think that we'd see a lot of experimentation with the new maps. I know some Terran players have been experimenting with mech, not to bring up Gumiho for the 50th time to the other casters at the very least, but he's been doing it a little bit. It just feels like Blackburn, we know what's going to happen generally on Blackburn. And despite the initial rumors that mech was going to be potentially a problem, I just haven't seen too much of it. And when I do, it doesn't seem super effective. I feel like more likely, and I swear I was going to say this before I saw the Roach Warren, I feel like more likely Rogue's like, you know what, I took that first game super easy, let's just kill him. So I was going to say maybe 1-1 Roach timing. That can be popular on Blackburn, but this is a Roach Warren on these 2 bases. Rogue's going to be looking for some early game damage.
He definitely is, and when I saw MarineLorD kind of checking it when he was going to take his third expand with the SV at the top of the ramp here, I was like, that is cute, and he reacted very quickly, actually ends up killing the drone. But you always have to have this in the back of your mind, because he's going for a 3cc opening, which I don't want to be like, oh yeah, that's the worst build you can do against a Roach Rush, because it's actually still pretty okay, but you have to respect it. This is quite a few Lings coming in here. Does not try to get the SV in the base. Instead, he's like, oh, the Lings are following that, so stops them from getting in and causing quite a bit more havoc, but we'll lose a few SVs, and I don't think he has any idea about what's going on behind all this. But I say that, but he is producing Marines off the reactor, which is actually a good sign for him thus far.
If he continues doing it, I'm with you, and builds a bunker, and
maybe a tank, and maybe a
tank. Yeah, that'd be really nice. Maybe a Cyclone. But he's not, so I'm really worried this is just him trying to kind of go along with what has happened, which is that the Lings bothered his opener, he couldn't transfer, and that does seem to be the case. So this is really the worst case scenario.
He's got to be smelling something, though. Like, these Lings still don't have speed right now, and it's like, they're running over here. Are they just trying to... Why are they running away from the most direct path in the middle of the map? And it's like, well, it could mean that he doesn't want you to scout him afterwards, but this...
Oh, no.
That's a late bunker.
That's a late bunker on the natural. He's going to see the roaches and no reaction. I think a bunker on the high ground, there it is, a little bit of a smile. Bunker on the high ground in response would have been better. Marauder does start up. The thing is that this technically maybe doesn't kill MarineLorD, but it's going to do so much damage. It's going to be him limping along this game the entire time. Just no scouts, not even a little bit of like, wait a second, hold on here. And he doesn't even have a Banshee on the way, right? He was trying to build a Marauder. He's trying to build up that tech lab, so...
Might not kill him, but it will leave him with a life not worth living, Zombigrub, I do believe. And I think upon taking this much damage, even it being your reaction's getting a Liberator, it's going to be 3 Ravages. Yeah, he's just out of it. And MarineLorD